This is the Very Interesting Podcast, episode 9, with your host, My God. This is not very well thought out as usual, so don't expect anything. Just get on the train and let that train take you away to places that you. Yeah. Not well thought out. I'd like to talk to you about, first of all, some warnings. Because apparently some of the previous episodes have had shocking content. They've been flagged as having shocking content. I've been trying to figure out what that means. My best guess is it had to do with anal bleaching. I'm not sure how this is shocking. There are people who do it, and yeah. So, some podcasts have warnings in the beginning, so I'm gonna have a warning too. So apparently this has shocking content, and also, you know what they say on NPR? They'll say this podcast acknowledges that sex exists. That's how they put it. So it's not even. This is really strange to me because it's not. It's probably strange to you too, so I'm not going to explain it. Sex exists. I'm acknowledging that. And if you don't want to acknowledge that, or if you don't want someone who should know that it exists to listen to this, then don't let that person listen to it. It's probably the same kind of person who wouldn't want that, who thinks that God is always watching, which might be true. I'm not saying it's not, but always watching, man. That really messes you up in the head if you think that. Oh man. This is just my opinion, of course. I know you gotta be careful with religion. I don't want to upset people. I see values in religion, but if you tell your kid God is always watching you, oh, dude, that can really mess up a kid. So please think about that a few times before you say something like that. There are people studying theology. There are people studying engineering, or let's say medicine, and they learn stuff so that they can help, can fix people later. And then there are people who study theology and they learn about, what are they? Like, they learn about what others have said about what might have happened. Like, things that are kind of not acknowledged by the general population, not taken really as fact, but might have happened, and are usually kind of weird, kind of dreamy, out of this world. So I think that's about it. It's out of this world stuff that they study for many years, apparently. Do you believe in heaven? When I was a kid, they would. I don't even know if they taught us this, but there was this. In my head, I have this idea that heaven is up there in the sky. Usually when I think of heaven, I wanted to look at it, I would look up, not down, because down there is hell. So you look up into heaven, way up there where it's. If you've flown in an airplane before, you know that's very cold up there, but I'm assuming heaven would be warm. The classic kind of heaven be warm. And there'd be white clouds with angels sitting on them and playing various instruments, typically things like, what are they called, the flute and recorders, and also violins. Not I have not had in my mind a picture of angels playing the drums or electric guitar or sit there with a bunch of equipment for techno music. But why? Because for example, I like electronic music, so I would, if I had to go to a place the way it's oftentimes pictured with clouds and that kind of music, I wouldn't like that so much. And also, well, okay, then there are some portrayals where you have landscapes with rivers that have milk flowing in them or honey. I'm not sure how that works. Gonna be warm honey probably, and then fruit and other stuff hanging on trees. So you just walk underneath, you open your mouth, and the food falls right into your mouth. It sounds convenient, but really, have you tried? I sometimes try throwing grapes up and then catching them with my mouth. It's kind of fun, but it's not my preferred way of eating, because then I would always throw stuff into my mouth, throw food into my mouth. So I don't like that idea really. And also, there are some religions that talk about there'll be virgins, but I think that only applies when you suicide bomb. So the requirement that God has established that to get those virgins, you have to suicide bomb. I think that's how it is. So then you get 40 virgins or however many. But which I think is supposed to sound appealing, but when you think about it, you want these virgins. I see where it's coming from, but let's say you are a woman suicide bomber, and then you're promised 40 male virgins if you are not, assuming you're not homosexual. So you are a woman and you're gonna get these 40 virgin guys. What I don't like about this whole heaven and hell idea is that it's so black and white. It's either this or that. It's a binary kind of thing. I would prefer if there were levels. Let's say you get assigned a level 1 to 10. 1 is total hell and 10 is the perfect heaven for you. So the average, a lot of people would probably end up at 5, because who really does mostly good things or mostly bad things, or who thinks I'm not sure if. Yeah, that's another thing. So let's say you're really religious and you're into this idea of heaven. I'm gonna move this microphone a little bit here. So you think in terms of heaven and hell, and then part of the requirements to get into heaven is that you don't have negative thoughts about God and stuff. Like you probably shouldn't have those. It's impossible. Once you start telling yourself don't have these terrible thoughts, you're gonna have them probably. It's like don't picture a gray elephant, that kind of idea. If you would want to come up with heaven, the coolest, the best thing that could happen, the nicest way to be, it's probably, and I'm not speaking from experience, but my guess is what I've heard is if you are high on cocaine or heroin or crystal meth, probably crystal meth is probably the best high, according to what I've heard. So that, you could just have that permanent high. That would be cool heaven. Would probably be the best heaven. Like, why do you don't need any external stuff. You don't need the virgins and the music and the honey and stuff. You just need be high in the best crystal meth there is. It's pretty easy. So you could have heaven right now, here on earth, heaven on earth. Not for long, but you can have it. So keep that in mind. Have you heard this? That I've heard this repeatedly, that if you shoot up heroin, it's like your best orgasm times 1,000. It probably varies from person to person how how on a 1 to 10 scale of good things in life, how good your orgasm is. If it's feeling 9 or feeling 10. Some people it's probably like a 6. That's just slightly better than not having one. Wonder if there are people that where it's worse than, like if they actually feel worse during an orgasm than they would without the orgasm. So if let's say you are an addict and you take heroin, why would you even want? You're probably not interested in orgasms anymore, in standard orgasms. If you get that feeling 1,000 times better, or even if it's twice as good, why would you even worry? And maybe they don't. Here's a different topic though. I recently got an oil slick spoon. Oil slick is a type of finish. It looks like when you have a puddle and there's oil in it. It comes up. There are these colors. It's mostly green and purple, a little bit of yellowish. It's also known as jet fuel. The finish, or recently neochrome. It's really kitschy. It's like a I realize it's kitsch, and I really like it though. It's like a kitschgasm. What's up with all the gasms today? So I got this spoon from my cousin, and it is so cool. I have it right here actually. It is so cool, and he gave it to me, and then I didn't want to eat with it because I just liked it too much for that. I finally ate with it, and I realized it's not ideal. There's a reason spoons are usually silver, is because when you eat and you take the spoon back out of your mouth, and then the color shines through. And then the first bite I took, then I thought, because it's mostly red purplish underneath, I thought, oh god, I'm bleeding from my gums or something. And it still happens to me. I'm getting used to it now, but I think that's why spoons are typically silver. And not because most foods are not silver. Alright, so here's a big one. Let's talk about Trump. I know, lots of people talk about Trump. But I'd really like to look at both sides of the guy. Both sides of the issue. I want to look at both. A lot of times also it is a black and white kind of issue. You like him or you don't. And I try so hard to look at both types of media, because it's pretty clearly separated. The pro or against. And it's difficult for me because I think I am in that bubble. I'm in the anti-Trump bubble. Probably because, the media I look at are CNN and then the German news Tagesschau. But then I also look at Fox News and I look at Reddit. So 3 out of those 4 are mostly anti-Trump. And then Fox is, I'm pretty sure it's pro. And then also on a lot of podcasts, there are people who talk mostly in favor. Again, very few who talk about both sides. So I've decided the toughest part for me to be neutral is when I hear the guy speak. It's just so unpleasant. And green tea. I just got a new 1 kilo bag. Wonder how long it's gonna take me to get through. But man, that stuff's good. Don't buy it though. It'll probably increase demand, higher price. Once I get a few million viewers. Okay, so that guy Trump. And then I try to see him as just a human, which he is, of course. How he gets up in the morning and walks to the mirror and then looks at himself and thinks, what am I doing here? I want to play golf. I want to... Yeah, he's done everything. He probably doesn't really... Where does he even get his motivation from to do anything anymore? I think you have to look at the big picture. You got to look at, are you a nationalist or are you an internationalist? If you think your nation that you live in, the people in your nation, they should be the best off, that's like, you think this is how it should be, then I think that's what Trump at least claims to be, I believe. Or no, even more extreme. I think he's more of a partial nationalist, because there's certain part of his nation, certain people that he doesn't he doesn't claim. I don't even know how to put it. Let's put it this way. I'm getting the impression that he's not so much into people who are originally from Mexico that are now, or from South America in general, that are now living in the United States. And he is more into people that stem from European origin. I wouldn't say whites. I think it's even more specific than that, because he recently talked about how he would like to have people from Norway. And that's about as pure white as it gets. If you wanted to say which is the whitest nation on earth, it's probably Norwegians or Finnish people or Swedish people, maybe Germans. So I'm pretty sure that's just the kind of people that he somehow prefers. And that, in a way, I guess you could say that's racism, right? But then again, if you look at back to a nationalist and internationalist, most people think it's okay to be nationalist. You know, even let's say here in Spain, a lot of people would say, yeah, Spain first, let's do the best for Spain. So you are picking a certain population that you would prefer over others, and you would like that you would give more to than to others. And so that's kind of what he does, but more restricted, not just to a nation, you know, not to a group of people that's within a certain part of the globe that has these, you know, artificially drawn borders, but he bases it more on a smaller subpopulation that came from a certain part in the world and now lives in this other part of the world. You know, like a Norwegian, let's say a Norwegian, people who are originally from Norway and now live in the United States. So those he would prefer over just plain Norwegians that do not live in the United States, which gets kind of strange now, huh? I like to claim that I'm an internationalist, but if it wasn't for these shithole countries, just kidding. That's a tough one too, calling certain countries shithole countries. If you just, let's say I went to, what's a good one? Venezuela or Guatemala. Guatemala is a good one. So I got to Guatemala and was driving around in a bus, and I looked out, this was at night, and I didn't think what a shithole country, but something like, oh, what a shitty place. This is so, oh man, this is crappy. So just going by feeling, I could again see where that comes from. They're just countries. I'm not talking about the people. Like if you just look at the country itself, or parts of that country at least, because probably every country has nice parts too, but on average, if you got randomly dropped in 1,000 places in Guatemala and then 1,000 places in Norway, that's actually a tough one. Let's say cities. Guatemala City and then Oslo. I think Oslo is Norway, right? You get dropped in 1,000 different places. The average and you gave it a shittiness scale rating from 1 to 10, I'm pretty sure most people would give Guatemala City an average shitty score, quite a bit higher than Oslo. Assuming same weather and stuff, of course. So if there was a like a worldwide shitty rating, then yes, there are certain countries that would have a much lower score than others. And if Trump refers to some countries, let's say in South America, then you would say, okay, everyone who scores from 1 to 4, from 7 to 8, 7 to 10 on the shittiness scale is considered a shithole country, then you could actually say, yes, he's right. There are some shithole countries. But you don't have to call them shithole. You could just say, not so appealing. They're not as appealing. And you know why that is, because they don't have as much money. You know, Norway, they have lots more money available. People have more education on average, probably. So they tend to maybe think more long term and make things look nicer, and don't throw the trash into the forest, because they can just put it in a trash can. And Guatemala or Venezuela, whatever, they might not have that option, so they throw the trash into the forest or wherever it's convenient for them. And so, in other words, you can explain it. But, still, I'm still leaning towards anti-Trump, I guess, and I'm trying hard. So, if you just look at the policies, I think, I just don't know enough. I don't understand enough. I don't think he does either, but that's just the impression I'm getting. I could be totally off too. I don't think he knows what he's doing at all. Very limited. But the idea of, for example, lowering corporate taxes, I kind of like. I just don't like super high taxes. But what do I know? Maybe, again, look at Norway, look at Denmark. They have some of the highest taxes overall, and everything works pretty good. People are pretty happy. They have health insurance. It's another one. Let's not even start on that. So, here's the deal. How do you measure a shithole level of a country? It's hard to measure. I have Instagram on my phone. I don't even know why anymore. I think, man, it's kind of depressing when you look at the bullshit. Well, not bullshit, but unless you are a business and you're trying to make money, why do you even... no, okay, I see it. You just want to share pictures with others. It's alright, never mind. All I'm saying, there's a bunch of pretty weird stuff, and I follow probably 2,000 people, and so I'm getting a pretty good average, I think. Lots of people have selfie sticks these days. You gotta be pre-invested in portraying yourself to others if you have a selfie stick. The next level, some pretty big booger in my nose, I think. That alone could be counted as shocking content. Talking about boogers in the nose. Everyone has boogers. I'm hoping. If you don't, you might have a problem. Gotta collect that stuff that comes out of the air and then get it out at some point. Another level of selfie stick would be a drone. They have a lot of drones now that follow you, and they make sure that you are always in the picture. Again, you gotta have there must be some need to get yourself on camera. Maybe there are some people that there's actually demand where people want to see you constantly. They want to look at you while they're watching something. So they want to not only have the landscape, but they want to look at you. I maybe I'm probably not normal like that. Like, I'd rather just not see the person. I want to see the landscape. Unless uh uh no, I guess no. I'd really just mostly like to see the landscape. If I want to see someone, I'll pull it up on Google and look at the images. The next level after drone, like let's say you're really rich and you're that much into yourself, and you want more than a selfie stick, you want more than a drone. There's got to be a sort of like a satellite. Probably you could shoot a satellite into space that then follows you and films you. That would be next level narcissism. I don't know if that's narcissism. Have you noticed some people hang up baby shoes on the mirrors of their cars? So I was wondering why they do that. I think it's all a similar thing. Like they want to. Oh, they see the shoe and they think, oh yeah, I have a child. Almost forgot, and it's so cute, and I want everyone else. No, maybe some people just want others to know that they have a child. Maybe they want to remind themselves, oh, I have a little baby, I better drive carefully, I don't want to die. And then they hang up shoes on the mirror, and it takes away from the things they see on the street because there are these shoes in the way. I'm sure there have been accidents caused by shoes hanging in the mirror where there was actually a car coming from the right side and you didn't see it because the shoe was in the way, and then you hit that car and you die. The other person dies too, and then or you accelerate really hard and those shoes swing back and they hit you right in the eye, and then you can't see for a moment, you crash and you die, or you're just super disabled, blind in a wheelchair kind of thing. I had a friend in high school. He was about probably 16 at the time, and he got a tattoo right above his penis, that area there. Some people call it the penis root. And he got a big tattoo that said Hustler in this old German style font, Hustler, with HUSTLER, the whole word really big. And so this was many decades ago, and I haven't seen the guy in a long time, but if I ever see him again, I want to ask him if he still has the Hustler tattoo and how he feels about it now. The reason I'm talking about this is because I have this sticker here that says Hustler, but it says it with an A, HUSTLA, and then the S is a $. So you're hustling for money, I guess. I'm not even sure what a hustler is, but I think it's someone who just kind of does whatever it takes to make money. So that's the kind of guy he might have thought he was, or he would like to be seen as. This is the word of the week, hustler. This reminds me that, you know how cars, almost every car has the brand name on it, has a badge on it that says BMW or Skoda or something. They put that thing on there to advertise. Okay. See, this is something I don't understand, but I think most people understand that you buy a car and you have this badge on there. Do you like that? Are you in favor of having that badge? Because I'm not. Like, I always think, what the hell? I'm going to carry this badge around for the next 200,000 kilometers. And if you look at it worldwide, it's a little bit of weight added, and it's a little less aerodynamic probably. And also making that thing, takes resources, and you have some kind of glue or whatever sticks it on there. So it's not really environmentally friendly. If you calculate it, it's probably a few tons of CO2 more every year. Anyways, my point is I don't think they should put badges on a car unless you really specifically ask them to. I have removed them in the past, and then it usually looks worse than before because you can't get all the glue off, or in the old days they were stuck. There were actually holes behind it and they were connected. Why are people talking so loudly in the background? Okay. Yeah, so you know what? Back to heaven. I was thinking if you could. Nah, I can't talk about this. It's too offensive. If you believe in heaven, then please do so. Have you heard of this idea that PETA, it's the something people for the ethical treatment of animals, they wanted to rename fish, and they wanted to call them sea kittens, so that you can more that you understand. Oh man, there are animals just like my cat at home. I think it's kind of a cool idea, actually. I wouldn't permanently want to call them sea kittens, but just to get the point across, I think that's cool. I think PETA does some stupid things, but they do some pretty good stuff too. Some stuff that makes you think if you're open to that. Imagine having you know how you have fish farms and you have so many fish in a little pond, more fish than water, it seems like. Imagine having a kitten farm where, well, I mean, it's not far off when you have farms for cows that you're gonna kill later. You just have a bunch of kittens. If their meat tasted really good, why not? What's the big difference? It's because they make a cute noise, a cute sound, or it could be dogs. You could have a dog farm, and then there would be so much variety, so many more types of dogs that probably taste differently. But they have a face that has a bit of a that kind of seems a bit more like a human, I guess. Well, a fish can't really express his happiness or sadness so much. They can't even smile. Well, I guess the others can't smile either, but you know what I'm talking about, right? Remember there was a website about a guy who would grow cats in a bottle or in a glass, like in a glass container or an aquarium or something? No, please don't do that. But it's back then I was really impressed by how bad someone could be. You know, squeezing a baby cat in there and then making it grow and having tubes to get the poo out and stuff, and feeding tubes. But then, so I thought, that's so horrible. How can you be like that? How could anyone... and it really worried me that there are people out there who might be doing such a thing. And then I realized they probably hopefully don't do it with cats, but it's done with ducks, for example, or a whole bunch of animals that are not stuck in a glass container, but it's almost the same thing, in a cage that's so small they can't move, and they're force fed, and the poo just kind of drops onto a conveyor belt in the back, make it easy to get rid of that stuff. So it's not that far off. But if you have check it out on Google. Just put in, like, I don't know what it was, like kitten in a glass bottle or something. Yeah, I think that's all I gotta say. Thanks for listening. Keep it real. Bye bye.